Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into the silent land, when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor I half turn to go, yet turning stay. Remember me when no more, day by day, you tell me of our future that you planned. Only remember me, you understand. It will be late to counsel then, or pray. Yet, if you should forget me for a while, and afterwards remember, do not grieve. For if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better by far you should forget and smile, than that you should remember and be sad. That last line always gets me. So what does it all mean? Okay, well, maybe I'll skirt around it a bit for a while and build up to what I think it means. Just telling you a little bit about Rossetti herself. I mean, easily one of the most talented poets ever. And I don't say that lightly. It doesn't matter how many times I read it. It doesn't matter how many times I go over it. It just gets me every single time.
BBC Upload. The best in new comedy, poetry and spoken word.
Opportunity to take some of my favourite poems and requests and read the poems in a different setting and sketch them, hence the title. Sketch them with words, I should add. And go over them no more than about 15 to 20 minutes, talking about them, but trying not to make it too overly academic and trying to get people who maybe don't like poetry to maybe come to their senses a little bit.
I like that, and I think it's really nice. You know, you can take a poem or your favourite book outside and suddenly the whole meaning changes.
I think so. I think when you read things in context where you can, it gives it a different meaning. And also poetry is about life. How
lovely that you've gone from doing the Philip Larkin podcast for the Society there, and now you've branched out to doing your own. What kind of things have you learned along the way that have really built your confidence to now go out and do a second podcast?
I think you learn to be comfortable with being a little bit uncomfortable. I've certainly realised that I don't always have all the answers, and I think being an English teacher, I do get a bit paranoid that if what I'm saying doesn't sound very engaging, people are going to switch off, or that people will be bored or alienated, or they won't really follow it. And I've sort of had to learn to just almost forget about that. That isn't my responsibility, actually. My responsibility is to make something that I would want to listen to and that people I know would maybe be interested in. And, you know, people will hopefully come round. Learning to think on my feet. The podcast is not live. I do edit it, but I do try to make it as unfiltered as I can. I try not to add effects. I don't like to have a big intro. I want people to plug in and be transported immediately to somewhere. I don't want them to have to sit through a preamble.
And that's great, especially in the times that we live in where people want the content now. I think you've done well to capture people straight away by going straight to the point. And I also like what you said about, you know, this is me. I think you can always tell when people are talking about things that they're passionate about. That comes through. You find your audience in talking about the things that you like, because if you like something, then someone else is going to like it too, the chances are. Are there any episodes that are coming up that you're particularly looking forward to putting out into the world, or any that you have put out that you think, oh yeah, I really enjoyed putting that together?
The most recent one I did was a fantastic poem by one of my favourite ever poets, Christina Rossetti, and the poem is called Remember. And I don't mind admitting it, but I got quite emotional talking about it, because I linked a lot of it with the passing of my wonderful father a couple of years ago. And I tried to talk about grief in general. I tried to talk about the sort of effect that has on you, and of course the concept of remembering. And I do actually tear up a couple of times in the reading, and that felt quite scary to me, to have to then think, do I put this out? Do I edit it down? No one wants to hear me sniffing away. But it felt real. It felt pure to have done it like that. And so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being able to put that out there. I think that we as men don't talk about our feelings enough. So to talk about grief in an open forum, I hope it helps somebody.
You will have helped even just one person from that episode, for sure. And that's the power of telling stories, I think. If people want to follow along with this new podcast, and how do they keep in touch, and how do they follow you?
It's simply called Sketch Poetry. It would be nice to have a community of people who talk about poetry, even if they maybe didn't before.